All right, guys, we're starting 6.4. 6.4 talks about just data displays. Now, Chapter 6 makes a really heavy focus on scatterplots, but there's also a lot of other data displays. I mean, literally, you could take an entire class. Actually, there are classes in college that the entire class for an entire semester is only on what you've learned in Chapter 6. All right, so all we're doing in Chapter 6 is barely scratching the surface. And what we're going to do in 6.4 is we are going to scratch the tiny little surface of the different types of data displays that you can look at that will give you different information or will help you see different information accurately. So each one of these has a clue. And you're looking for clues in the scenario to help you pick the right data display. So a pictograph would be pictures, okay? Shows data using pictures. A bar graph shows data in specific categories. Circle graphs show parts of a whole out of a total, population of students or whatnot. Line graph, here's the key, changes over time. How is data changing over time? That's a big one for line graphs, okay? And then histogram shows frequencies of data. Here's the kicker though, intervals. Intervals of the same size, okay? So this isn't just one category. This is maybe a range of values that's being compared, okay? Okay, we've got some more. Stem and leaf plot. This one is not going to be very common, but it orders numerical data and shows how they're distributed. It's real good for seeing where data is kind of clustered or where it's gathering. Box and whisker shows variability using quartiles. This one also isn't really super common.
So we're not going to use it this year, right?
Box and whisker, we don't actually do them, no.
Thank you.
Dot plot shows frequency, again, number of times each value occurs in a data set, so frequency. Scatterplot's a big one, guys. I can almost guarantee you're going to see this one. It shows the relationship. It's a comparison between two data sets. So just like in our earlier sections, we said, how does TV size affect price or how are they related? If I'm ever comparing data and I want to know how they're related, a scatter plot is the way to go. All right, so that's what you're going to see there. All right, so now you have scenarios. Okay, which data display would be best for the following scenarios? The number of students in a marching band over 10 years. I just want you to write your answer to start. Just write your answer to start, and then we'll go through and share answers. Okay. Yeah, you could do them all. Yeah, honestly, I just want you to take a minute and answer them. Just give it your best guess based on the clues that we talked about. Each data display kind of targets this area. Now, I will say this. There are a couple where you could make a case for a couple different ones. So it's not there's one right answer and none of the other ones are right. Now, there's definitely some that are like, that would not be good, but there's not just one answer on a lot of these. Okay, Josh, what did you say for the first one?
I put line graph.
Yes.
Let's go.
How many put line graph? Anybody? Now, this one is a pretty straightforward one. It's not a scatter plot because there's not two categories. Okay? It's not a histogram. Well, it might. No, not a histogram either. You maybe could do intervals of years and then frequency of students, but even still, the frequencies would be so different that actually would not be good. Okay, so we could go through all the options of which ones were not, but that 10 years, that definitely gives it away. That's a line graph. A comparison of people's shoe sizes and their heights. Nick? A dot plot? No, because what if it's like a lot of people? What if it's like 100 people? Then it's 100 dots. That would be kind of tough. Cam?
Scatterplot.
That's a scatter plot. How did I know? How did I know it was going to be a scatter plot? How many categories do I have? 2 categories, and it's a comparison. So what I'm looking for is there a relationship? When I'm comparing things, I'm looking to see how they're related. As shoe size as height increases, what do you think is going to happen to shoe size?
It's going to increase.
It's going to increase, right? It's not the taller you are, the smaller your foot is, right? Usually, I mean, that would be kind of funny looking, a 7-foot tall NBA player that has a size 7 foot. Like, you don't see that, right? They usually have. What size shoe was Shaq?
17.
19.
Yeah, was it a 17? I just remember hearing Shaq's shoe size, and I thought, like, how crazy. I'm pretty sure he even has shoes in, like, museums.
This
Like,
is the kid.
This is Shaquille O'Neal shoe size because it's, like, such a big shoe. And I do think that he had to have custom shoes. I know he had to have his, like, car customized so he could fit in a car. Because, like, he was so tall. All right, so scatter plot. All right, what do you think about the population of the United States divided into age groups? Divided into age groups, Connor?
Circle graph.
Okay, so I would take circle graph, all right, because it will show pieces of the pie. The only reason I would pick this other one, and we'll talk about it in just a sec, there is one that I would probably pick above a circle graph. Age groups no, definitely not, because you'd have to have pictures of everybody, and that doesn't really tell you anything. Not a bar graph, again, because you would have to have every single age, and age, like 2 would be its own category. So age groups, okay, 0 to 13, adolescents, okay, 14 to 23-year-olds, all right, intervals, histogram. A histogram would show us, all right, now again, this doesn't mean that it's the only acceptable data display, but a histogram might be a good one for this kind. All right, population shows the frequencies of data in intervals of the same size. All right, so we'll say histogram on this one. I would take circle graph too. All right, number of students in your school who play basketball, football, soccer, or lacrosse. There's 2 pretty obvious ones on this one. Mason?
Pictograph? Put them next to a soccer.
No, but here's the thing. The pictograph would have to have each student, like, playing a sport, but then that doesn't really show you the totals. Okay, Micah? A bar graph or a circle graph. A bar graph or a circle graph. Okay, because again, a bar graph you can have.
I apologize for the interruption.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, you can have category basketball, and then however many football, soccer. So those are easy to split into categories. Bar graph would definitely be good. Okay, so the last slide here would be tell whether the data display is appropriate or basically if it represents the information. So you record the number of hits for your school's new website for 5 months. So are these data displays accurate for showing that data, the number of hits for your school's new website for 5 months? So let's look at this top right one. Does this show, does this give us the information we're looking for, the number of hits on a website over 5 months?
Yes.
Does it show me about how many in August?
Yes.
Yeah. What about September?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely fine. What kind of data display is this?
Bar graph.
Bar graph. Very good. It's a bar graph. Okay, so this is a bar graph. And it definitely is accurate because it shows the data, how many hits per month. All right. Let's go to this bottom middle one. Okay. Would you say that this is accurate?
Yes.
Does it show me about how many in August, September, October?
Yes.
Yeah. What now? Okay. What kind of a data display is this?
Line graph.
It is a line graph. A dot plot doesn't connect the dots. That's a great question, though. Okay, so that's a line graph, and I will say yes because I can see how many in August, September, October, November, December again. Now, can anybody give me a real quick interpretation of this data, whether it's a positive relationship, negative, and what that would look like in a sentence?
As
Jason?
the year goes farther on, the hits will go up.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so, or the longer this, what is it, a website? The longer this website is active, the more traffic it's getting, okay, or the more people that are visiting the website. But what he said is fine because he described a positive relationship. As the months go on, as the time increases, the number of hits on the website increases. All right, so let's look at this last one. Is this an appropriate data display? No, I can't tell which month is which. It doesn't, and I don't know what the 1, 2, 3, 4 even means.
They don't even got 4.
Okay.
They got 3.
Yeah, this is definitely not. Yeah, this is definitely not going to be. Now, this is what kind of a display? Does anybody know?
Histogram.
It is a histogram. A histogram kind of looks like a bar graph, doesn't it? But they have wide columns and they're touching, and we see intervals at the bottom. That's what tells me that it's a histogram. All right, that's everything you need to know for 6.4.
That's it.
Yep.
Do you say that at the end